Assassin's Creed is a series of amazing games that is set in a third world open action style, and they have managed to recreate history, and it's an amazing series. There is no other series in this world that lets you travel to the Acropolis of Athena, the Pyramids of Giza, or the Bastille or Westminster Parliament itself. In this series, I'll be focusing on the settings that I think would work in Assassin's Creed. Bear in mind that this is just my own opinion, and bear in mind that the Assassin's Creed series has focused on the Templars against the Assassins, or the Assassins against the Templars, however you want to call it. And after Valhalla, we're going to be going to a new setting, a new era, and in this video I'm going to discuss the eras I want. India, for example, the Persian Empire, Rome, and Mesopotamia itself. I'd like to see these potential amazing great eras, and Assassin's Creed is the epitome of this. All of this historical recreation just goes to show how much work, how much effort goes into it. And I just have to say thank you to Ubisoft for creating these historical games. You can just see the Acropolis of Athena itself. Just think how it would have looked like back 2000 years ago. It looks amazing. So, moving on. The Mauryan Empire was one of the most powerful empires that India's ever had. It was literally a place where India was literally on the top. It was pretty much the place of architecture, food, everything was great in it. That's what I'd say. It has attained a mythical status, expanded all the way to the south of India, all the way straight to the north where Bactria is. And I think a really good place to start would be the Seleucid-Mauryan War, where General Seleucus, who served under Alexander, could be a Templar agent, and they sacked Persepolis. And then once they sacked Persepolis, in this sort of prologue story that we could have Kurush, Persian assassin that flees Persepolis with some sort of golden artifact, because Seleucus needs to get that Isu artifact back. He's getting an army to invade the Mauryan Empire a couple of years later, so that during the Wars of the Diadochi that he can attain this mythical status and become Alexander once again. And Kurush, defeats Seleucus, and in that type of sense you could have lush jungles, awesome visuals, temples, beautiful places. In that type of stuff you could have all that stuff, and you could have the Seleucid, the Mauryan War, you could have lots of Greeks, Scythians. There's so much stuff that you could do with India at this point. And this is the land of beautiful temples, by the way. And I think this sets up the perfect premise for an Assassin's Creed setting. On the one hand, you got fleeing Persians coming to India. On the other hand, you got an encroaching Macedonian empire that wants conquest. You have mythology as well, and I'll later expand this into a later video called Top 5 Potential Eras in Assassin's Creed India. That's it from the Indian side. So, moving on to number 2. Imperial Rome, set during the reign of Nero and Corbulo. And Rome was a small tiny city that was built around 7 hills. It soon became a republic that crushed Carthage, conquered the Greeks, and fought against Parthia, and fought against the Germanic tribes. It became an empire that set the foundation of Western civilization. The importance of such a setting can never be underestimated. A full Assassin's Creed on this game with open world, mixed RPG along with Assassin vs Templar elements will really make this game good. And you know what? If I get to see Ancient Rome recreated in this engine, this new engine after Valhalla, it is going to be one of the most epic historical recreations that I will have ever seen. And Rise Son of Rome, for example, was a game that had massive potential to see more historical games. But it was short, it lacked a big open world, the story was short, and it ironically successfully blended mythology into it as well. So we didn't get to see more games like this. But I sincerely wish that there were more games like this in the historical market, because right now it's a lot of sci-fi games and not enough for historical. So it's really only Ubisoft that is really making an attempt at bringing history and trying to mix it up with the Assassin's Creed stuff. But you know what? Rome itself would be an amazing setting, and I would just love to see it. So yeah. Now, moving on to number 3. Persian Empire. And yes, I'm talking about the actual Persian Empire. I think Odyssey didn't do much of a good job representing the actual Persian Assassin Brotherhood properly. I will make a video on this separately on why I think we need an Assassin's Creed game set in the massive sprawling empire. I've been thinking of this idea for a long time, and the Persian Empire would be a massive, brilliant choice. This would be set after Darius killed Xerxes in the events of AC Odyssey. I would want Darius' legacy to create the Brotherhood of Assassins within the Persian Empire. Darius may have fled Persia, but he must have had a young man that looked up to him, that reminded him of Nartakas. This man has created a new Brotherhood of Assassins in the Persian Empire against the Order of Templars. As an example, here's my idea of what a potential story could be like. Artaxerxes of Persia is now ruling an empire that faces political instability. In Greece, the warlords of Sparta and the oligarchs of Athens scheme to take revenge back from the Persians for their constant meddling after the events of the legacy of the First Blade. Zeno, the name we shall assume for this Persian assassin, is a thief in the city of Susa. Much in the vein of Aladdin and Sinbad, he is a constant meddler, and he takes from the rich and gives to the poor. Parsa, the governor of the city, becomes so frustrated with him that he eventually captures Zeno, and guess what? He's a Templar. In the dungeons of the governor's palace, Parsa tells him to give up fighting against the Templars. The Templars, since the dawn of creation, have championed for order. Utopian promises are nothing more than nonsense and lies. Revolution doesn't change the world. Parsa tells Zeno that killing Xerxes was a mistake, and that they will do everything to get rid of Artaxerxes. The new king was chosen by Darius, and therefore, according to Parsa, the Templars have a benevolent and well-loved king, worthy of his grandfather Cyrus the Great. But you know what? There's a lot of things you can play around here. A lot of things there's no need of going good and bad. You can have grey versus even more grey. You can bring that type of Game of Thrones conflict, because the Persian Empire was literally that. And one of the reasons why I think it's going to make a good game, first of all, the amount of diversity in landscape, where there are mountains, relief of the Persian kings, the Great Tomb of Cyrus, the mountain of Behistun, the city of Tyre. You have Persians, Assyrians, Mesopotamians, Scythians, Sarmatians, Greeks, Indians, Chinese merchants. You have so many people from all around the world. And to make it easy, you have 4 provinces. So each one is a large province. So you have Asia Minor. You have, you have Egypt, you have all these places, and in those places you have cities and towns similar to AC Odyssey, less countryside, more ruins, more temples, adding that Isu mystery, so or less. You have female assassins from the Persian Brotherhood because they were way ahead of this time. You're exploring Eastern ruins, Assyrian ruins, mythological creatures, but in mythological creatures a little bit more toned down but more grounded in that sense. And this game will have a lot of pre-Sumerian ruins because the Sumerians are like the Minoans in AC Odyssey. So it's an open world game, and you'd have Persepolis, Susa, Ecbatana, Troy, Side, Tehran. There are a lot of cities. And this is barely anything I've mentioned. This will be in style of Origins to a degree. And you know what? I would love to see an Assassin's Creed game set in ancient Mesopotamia. I feel it's a very ignored and neglected feature of many video games, because Mesopotamia has so much potential. It has mythology, literature, culture, Gilgamesh. There is so much here that is covered in games like Civilization 6, and I think, why is Assassin's Creed not done this yet? Sure, you could make the argument that but it's way before the Assassin timeline. It may be, but that doesn't mean that it can't be written. It can't be, it can't just, you can add more plot. Imagine if Darby was making a game on Mesopotamia, for example, in that sense. You could focus on the Babylonian and Assyrian wars. You could have an assassin that has to retrieve an Isu artifact, which is basically the idol of Marduk from the Assyrians, and want to go on this sort of world conquest, or the Babylonians. You could have a whole bunch of things. Again, it would be similar to the Assassin's Creed Persian Empire game that I suggested, but one of the concept artists for Origins did a concept art for Babylon, And seriously, it would look amazing if we could get ancient Babylon, because it would be like, it would be so perfect for parkour. So perfect, I'm gonna tell you on that. But the idea is, pretty much like that. So that's my list of the settings I want to see in AC. You might have a different list. Please do tell me in the comment section down below, and that's fine. We all love history. That's part of the reason why we also play these games as well. Be sure to leave a like if you watch this video, comment, share and sub, and thank you so much for reaching to the end. I'd also like to hear your thoughts and where do you want Assassin's Creed to go? It'll be really nice. Thank you.